Thanks for staying with us. It's still in the game, and it's now time to talk about the Under-23 African Cup of Nations. I said the final will take place today. We had the third place match yesterday between Mali and Guinea, and what a match it was. Ended in a stalemate, goalless, and they went to penalties with the Malians prevailing on by 4-3. So it's Mali who book the final Olympic ticket and will join the likes of Egypt as well as Morocco as African representatives to the Paris 2024 Summer Games. Talking about the Olympic football tournament right there in Paris. What a match it was. Quite entertaining. And today, everyone will be expecting that the final will also deliver in terms of the quality of football as well as the goals that should reign in their torrents between the two North African giants. It's Morocco against defending champions Egypt in today's final. Now, joining us to discuss this and more, all the way from Rabat, Morocco, is Sulaiman Adebayo, popularly known as Pooja. Pooja, good morning. It's good to have you on the show.
Good morning, Simon. It's good to be on the show.
Let's start with the weather. I mean, your voice sounds like you're enjoying the atmosphere right there. What's Morocco like at this time of the year in terms of the weather?
Okay, it's summer, in Morocco. Morocco is closer to Spain, so it's summer here, and the weather is normal weather. The sun is out, and yesterday so a bit sunny yesterday as well. So it's sunny in Rabat because of summer. I think the last time we came here, it was still summer. I think like last 2 weeks or last 3 weeks, but the weather is good, and of course I hope the weather remains like this so that we have a good final.
Okay, I like the fact that you touched on the weather playing a part for the final, because if the rains come down in the torrents, it will definitely affect the playing surface and the quality of football on display. So hopefully the clouds hold forth and we have a good weather conducive enough to play football. Let's start with yesterday's match before we delve into the final. Mali finally booking the Olympic ticket. I'm sure you watched that. What do you make of the performance of both teams? And do you think Mali are credible representatives of Africa going into the Olympic Games?
Well, yesterday, it was very obvious that both teams will have a very big task, in front of them. Remember, both teams lack scoring goals. Both teams struggle to score goals in court. And you look at Mali, what Mali did to Morocco in the semi-final, you feel like, they have the mental edge to actually go ahead to win the bronze medal. And of course, book that ticket for Olympics. So it looked like a cagey game beforehand. And of course, the game didn't disappoint. It was a cagey game. And of course, penalties anybody's game. So Mali, based on what they did, even when they played against Egypt in the first game in their group stage, it was a stalemate. And they did a very good game against Morocco again in the semi-final. So they looked like the team with the momentum, the team that is stronger enough to actually win it. So it's not a no-brainer. They deserve it. For Guinea, unfortunately for them, they were not really, they were a good side, but not really a goal-scoring side in this tournament. So for Mali, it was well-deserved with what they've done coming from the group stage.
Okay, let's turn our attention now to the finals. The Egyptians are the defending champions. They'll be looking to defend their title once again. You have Morocco as well, who are seemingly dominating African football in terms of making the semi-finals and finals of various tournaments. How do you expect the final to play out, considering what we've seen from the group stages for both sides?
Well, it's going to be very difficult for Morocco because for Morocco, they are playing against the defending champion. They're playing against an Egyptian side who have been the best side when it comes to under 23 in Africa for the past 2-3 years. Remember, they were knocked out in the quarterfinal by Brazil in Olympics in 2020, and now they are defending champion. And since then, Samuel, they've not lost a game. They've gone 14 games unbeaten. And for Egypt again, they've not considered a goal in this tournament. So it looks like it's going to be very difficult for Morocco to find their way to beat Egypt. But away from that as well, Egypt, Morocco are very strong side as well. Remember, they demolished Ghana 5-1. They are the highest scoring side in court in this tournament. So we are playing against a very, very defensive-sided, Egyptians like that. Because the Egyptians as well, they've scored just 4 goals in this tournament. So we can say they are both of this, different side, the most scoring side and of course the most defensive side. So it's going to be a game of who wants it more. Of course, Morocco have the fans behind them. Remember, I was there for the CAF Champions League final, and the Moroccans know how to support their own. So the fans will play a big part because for Egypt they've not considered this tournament, and for Morocco they've scored a lot of goals. So I think it's going to be the mentality that will win the game for both sides.
Okay, let me put you on the spot quickly. Who gets this scoreline?
I think it's going to be a revenge, like a revenge. Remember,
Okay.
Al Hilal, got that better one against Wydad last 2-3 weeks
CAF
in the
Champions
CAF
League,
Champions
yes.
League, and this time around Morocco have to find a way to take something away from Egypt. And for Egypt, being the defending champion and being a very strong side, not considered yet in this tournament, I think Egypt could find a way to win this one again. So it will be back-to-back win for the Egyptians in Morocco.
Okay, before we move away from this, topic, we need to address the issue of infrastructure. And the reason for that is the CAF president, Patricia Motsepe, did commend Morocco for, their new headquarters, talking about the Moroccan Football Federation, which is definitely a state-of-the-art infrastructure. And this brings us once again to the conversation that how is it done in terms of how Morocco is dominating the architectural sphere when it comes to infrastructure in football? Do you think this is the reason we've seen in recent times that Moroccan football has evolved? You talk about their Atlas Lionesses, that's the women's national side, getting to the AFCON final last year for the first time. You have the men's team going all the way to a semi-final, being the first African team to do that at the World Cup. You had, the team at the under-17. Now, this is another team in the final. Do you think these infrastructure, the investments in, facilities, is the reason Moroccan football is on the rise again?
Well, Sam, you can't take that away from them. I think when it comes to facilities, sports facilities, I think Morocco is at that top level. And yesterday we saw what their new headquarters talking about their federation, and they have a facility where called the Mohammed VI, and I must tell you, Samuel, over 200 professional players across their national teams, from the under 20, under 21, under 23, the national team, club side, camped in a place they can camp anytime they want. So just last 2 weeks, they camped over 200 professional footballers and and officials. I don't think any country, even Nigeria, can withstand even just Super Eagles coming to Lagos. It was a very big problem, for Lagosians and of course for the government. So they have facilities that can absorb any level of football or professional footballer, and they are doing that very well. Remember, they have been doing well again, and of course, talking about the headquarters, they are actually prepping themselves for the bid for the AFCON in 2025, which of course they've come out to say they want to host it as well. So it's a big plus for them when it comes to facility. I think they can host any tournament. This is my 5th time in Morocco in 2 years, and I must confess to you, Samuel, if you come to Morocco, you will always testify to this magnificent work going on in Morocco. I think facilities play a big part, because when there's a neighborhood environment, of course, teams will flourish.
Okay. Finally, just before you go, let's talk about the 2023 African Cup of Nations mascot that was unveiled yesterday, known as Aquaba. That's the 2023 African Cup of Nations mascot for Ivory Coast, the tournament. What do you make of that? Quickly.
I think it's one thing for us in Africa to actually sell our culture, sell our culture to the outside world. And I think what Cote d'Ivoire, what CAF are doing with this AFCON hosting rights is to actually tell story about Africa. And I think Aquaba as a mascot is telling a story about the origin and of course the culture of Cote d'Ivoire. So I think it's a big deal. It's a big deal for for Africans and for football as well. So let's sell our our culture. Let's sell our image, and of course let's tell our story, because Africans can only tell African stories.
Okay. Well, that's a very good way to wrap it. Only Africans that can ideally tell the African story. Thank you so much, Sulaiman Adebayo, known as Pooja, for your time on the show this morning.
Thanks for having me, Samuel.
Yeah, do enjoy your stay in Morocco.